Well, most people know your music, but you're also a farmer. So tell us about Mraz Family Farms and exactly what you grow.
Thanks. Well, I'm at Mraz Family Farms now. I have a little studio in the backyard of my house, but all around the house and studio are mostly avocado trees. And those trees were planted before I was born. I moved out here 20 years ago and became responsible for the life of these trees. It's not something I knew I was going to get into, but because avocado trees aren't necessarily native to this area, it became my responsibility to feed them, prune them, water them, and basically nurture them into a long life. And they're still going strong. And over the last 20 years, we've added coffee, banana, passion fruit, and about, believe it or not, 75 to 100 other fruit varieties in small quantities that we can enjoy year round.
Wow. Do you have plans to, plant other fruits or vegetables?
We do some vegetables in smaller gardens that feed the households and our staff, but mostly we're fruit trees. Yeah, mostly we are orchards and fruit trees. What we grow in large quantities, we do have customers for. We sell all of our avocados to Chipotle. They are the largest purchaser of avocados in the country. We sell all of our coffee to Fringe Coffee here in California. They are California's own California-grown coffee company. Our passion fruits go to Living Tea Kombucha. So we have relationships with a lot of local companies as well as a few national brands.
I love that. I want to talk about regenerative farming because you're a big advocate for that. So for those that don't know exactly what that means, maybe explain it real quick and why it's important to you.
Sure. It's all about rebuilding or regenerating the soil from which we are producing our food. We've spent many, many decades harvesting food out of the topsoil. And in many accidental cases, we mine carbon out of that soil. It gets released into the atmosphere, and we leave that soil fallow and depleted of its life. But really, the soil is the life that we need to produce food, plant, sequester carbon from the atmosphere back into the earth, and build a living organism under our feet. So we practice regenerative agriculture, which means everything we're doing must also, while we're producing food, we must also be creating soil. We must also be building microorganisms just below our feet through fungal networks and through keeping the earth covered. And so we are an organic farm. If you came out here and saw it, it would basically look like a jungle, very dense. We've filled this property with as many trees as we could possibly squeeze on it, and also covered the earth with native herbs and flowers that become green compost and keep our soils healthy. We also work with our local municipality. We're in Oceanside, California, and Oceanside has a great green waste program. And I mention this because communities can do this together, where we take our compost, our green waste, and turn it into compost that we can then reapply on our farms and on our lawns and gardens to help build back that soil.
You're also a longtime advocate of climate preservation. So why is it still really an important mission to you?
I farm thanks to the generations before me that farmed. I basically inherited this farm when I purchased it. So I want to make sure I'm leaving this land better than I found it for the next generation who will come eventually and work this land. Also, as a world traveler, I've been able to see all different types of environments. I've had the pleasure even going down to Antarctica as an entertainer to entertain scientists and learn about climate change, and just see how dramatic things have been heating up over the last 50, 60 years, and the direction we're potentially headed. So I saw an opportunity as someone in agriculture where I could offset my own travels, my own carbon footprint, and create an environment, even if it's a microclimate, but create a climate in my own environment that could participate in carbon drawdown, pulling it out of the atmosphere and getting it back in the soil, creating a healthy living environment for my friends and neighbors, for the wildlife here. I just saw an opportunity. I'm very fortunate that I get to travel. That's such a privilege, that I needed to make sure in my off time I was doing something that actually gave back to the very environment that sustains me.
And I want to expand on that a little bit more and switch gears a bit, because you're going to set out for a tour for your new album. So are there things that you do that you reduce your carbon footprint while you're traveling, and maybe some of our viewers can take away some of those tidbits as well and do them when they travel?
Good question. I mean, those are really tricky. They vary from region to region. A lot of regions, we can put biodiesel in our vehicles still, in our buses, which is amazing. It's still fossil fuels, but it's cut with corn, and that to me is a big help. We'll also plant trees to offset our miles and offset our flying, because traveling can be very difficult, especially if you're in an airplane. You know, you're consuming a lot of fossil fuels that way. We encourage everyone. I know this sounds old-fashioned, but we still encourage everyone to carry their own canteen, their own water vessel for hot and cold bevs, because consuming plastics adds up. I hate leaving a venue or a video set and just seeing, or a concert and just seeing plastic water bottles everywhere. So we also work with local venues and our audience to bring your own canteen and refill on site. Just to ease that garbage that we can so easily make.
Cut down all that plastic. Jason Mraz, thank you for what you do. We need more people like you out there. And thank you for being such a good advocate for the entire world, really. Jason Mraz, musician and regenerative farmer. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.